All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Oh, here she is. We just pledged.
Okay.
They call me chicken, so I started. I couldn't help it. Peer pressure. They call me chicken because I wouldn't start the meeting, so I started.
I
Peer
apologize.
pressure.
Any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Roll call.
Oh, roll call, please.
Jenny David.
Here.
Roger Mayhew.
Yes.
Charles Wiltie.
Here.
Mark Serbrook.
Present.
Craig Scott.
Yes.
Any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I have not. I'll make a motion to accept it as presented. Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott, support from Commissioner Wiltie. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any declarations of conflicts of interest?
I have none. None. Should be good. None.
Okay, review of minutes, June 26, 2025, regular meeting minutes.
I reviewed. I'll make a motion to accept them as presented.
Motion from Commissioner Scott,
Support.
support from Commissioner Serbrook. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. July 1st, 2025, committee of the whole meeting minutes.
Make a motion that we accept.
Motion from Commissioner Wiltie. Support from Commissioner Mayhew. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment on agenda items only. Any public comment in the room? Any public comment on the phone?
Nobody on.
Correspondence from Northeast Michigan Council of Governments related to support for economic development administration and Wildvance. Their meeting minutes from June 23rd, 2025. Those have been received and filed. Consent agenda. You guys,
Take them individually, please. Please.
item 7A. Resolution to approve a school resource deputy agreement. This resolution is sponsored by Sheriff Brian Gilbert. The Ogemaw County Sheriff's Office is willing and able to provide school resource supplemental law enforcement services to the West Branch Rose City area schools. Through cooperative education and enforcement efforts, the school resource deputy program strives to assist the schools with providing a safe school and neighborhood environment. Approval of the resolution will provide a school resource deputy to West Branch Rose City school areas for a period of 1 year at a cost of $85,000 annually paid by the school district.
I would like to make a motion to table this resolution.
We have a motion to table it. Any further, any support?
I'll support.
Support from Commissioner Serbrook. Discussion, Commissioner?
We had an LE meeting today and we're having an ongoing problem with filling the deputy. The candidate for the academy that we've been told about for the last 4 months now has failed the sheriff's review, and now he's looking at somebody else and that has to do the academy. So I brought it up, and this was really brought up by Commissioner Simmons when she was here, that the focus, we're not mandated by anyone to provide police in the schools. We are mandated by our own resolution and millage to have 24/7 on the road. And right now, it's not happening. It's happening right now because our school resource officers are off. And that's not even happening every day because we looked at some of the payroll, and we've seen in the last week missing shift. So I don't know how long the table is. I'll go to the next meeting and see, but I'd like to know if the sheriff's gonna move on somebody going to the academy, if what's gonna happen.
Is there something is it still posted? Is the position posted?
Well, I asked the sheriff today if we were on MCOs. I looked it up and we are not. I happened to talk to the under sheriff afterwards and I said, I looked and we're not on MCOs. Where are we advertising? Are we advertising? Like I say, and I said this to the sheriff, he was adamant that he wanted 24/7 on the ballot. We put it on there, it passed, and we've yet to have 24/7. But yet we're putting officers in the schools. I mean, sewer line is covered by the city. Yeah, like I say, it's not up to us. I mean, we don't have, there's no statute says that the county provides for the schools. The schools can provide for themselves, whether it's through the city or a contractor or something else. So right now, I just don't want to make a decision on this agreement.
Comment.
Commissioner Wiltie?
I don't support not moving this forward. I feel that this resource officer is very important to be at the school, but I do support Commissioner Scott's frustrations and disappointments. But another item on top of this that really bothers me is the fact that, we ask for transparency and honesty and consistent communication. If we're not on MCOs, how in the world are we advertising out to the public outside of the county that we're even looking for an officer? Every month, that's the question we've asked since I think I've been chairman of the law enforcement committee because we've always been short. Are we on MCOs? And we're always been told yes. Now we were told yes again to our face today by the sheriff. And as Commissioner Scott said, we're not. He verified it. So that's very frustrating. This 24/7 coverage, I mean, right now, yes, we're closer than we've ever been, because we do have 2 school resource officers that aren't at the schools. We did look back at the hours and we did see that a night here just recently, we weren't covered. So it's not a full 24/7. And we've been very, very adamant, we don't want to see this road patrol millage, be lost. Without a road patrol millage, we would not have road deputies in the county. And if we did, it would be very far and in between. So that is so important to the safety of our constituents. So I do understand where Commissioner Scott's coming from. I couldn't imagine not having since we do now, with this day and age, with the amount of evil that's out there, not having an officer at the schools. I don't want to see that happen, but we need to see some progress on this. That's all I have right now.
So is the job posted on the Will County website? Where is this job posted at all?
I didn't even check the county website. Do you happen to know? No?
I can tell you it is, and it has been for quite some time.
Oh,
Thanks, Tom.
Welcome.
Commissioner Serbrook, can I get your opinion on this?
Certainly can.
Go ahead, sir.
I believe that we have received a mandate from the citizens of Ogemaw County for 24/7 road patrol. And that the 24/7 road patrol should be staffed before we put officers in the schools. I'm 100% in favor of the schools, don't get me wrong. But I think that the citizens have said, we want 24/7 road patrol. We voted for it. We're paying for it. They deserve it. I think that should be the priority.
They've been without it for quite some time.
And they deserve it though. They have been, I agree, but.
Commissioner Mayhew, your opinion?
Yeah, it's true. They have paid for it. They should have it. I don't know what would happen if the school got hit, but the school can advertise and get people too, just like we can, if they want a deputy and we can't get one.
Do other schools, I have mixed feelings on this. This is extremely important. Our kids that just graduated from that school, I think our schools need to be safe. But so do our residents, and the 24-hour road patrol seems to be a very hot topic. I think we went without it more than we went with it. I think we have given them every opportunity to make this happen. I'm not sure why it hasn't. I guess, do you know if other schools typically go through their sheriff's department? Are there other ways for them to seek filling this position?
I know some of the larger urban area schools will hire security firms to conduct that. But most of our counties are participating in the way that we are. Some counties actually have millages that cover school resource officers too. For whatever reason, that seems to be the preferred route, to have sworn officers with arrest powers doing that work. And I can certainly understand and appreciate that. We've had that debate about our own security here. But to say that it's uniformly done this way, no, but most of the schools, particularly the size of the schools we have, follow this pattern.
How far back, if you don't mind me, how far back did you guys look at the schedules? I mean, summer, since Memorial Day till 4th of July weekend, do you know how many nights there has not been covered?
We only looked at the few days of the holiday weekend,
Holiday, but we can.
There was a night on the holiday that wasn't covered?
Sunday
Sunday night. Well, we'll have another commissioner meeting on the 24th of July, and we'll have another one on the 14th. We were told today that school resource officers should be going back to 18th.
Of August, right?
August. So we still have we got 4 weeks before that happens.
You know, unfortunately, it almost seems, because of where we're at, this is kind of the route we seem to have to go, for one, to get answers, for two, to make things happen. And that's unfortunate.
It is.
It really truly is. So there is time. We have time. We're not on crunch time at this point in time.
And it's already been negotiated and it's all set. All it takes is a vote. But you ask about sheriff's departments, the Sirline School here in town is covered by the city.
Well, they're in the city.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we could easily have officers there, but if we contracted with them. But the city contracts with the school system for that school. And then now, as time has gone, the city's contracting with West Branch Township for police protection. So, and they don't seem to have a problem filling positions.
I'm going to agree with you on this table, Commissioner Scott, just because we're not on crunch time. We have some little time here to figure this out. And hopefully this will bring about some transparency and a plan moving forward. Not that I'm in favor of this. Again, I think this needs to happen, but I think really, unfortunately, this is the way to go about it.
I tend to agree with you on that standpoint. I mean, how else do we get commitments and everything else? I mean, we've been hearing about people, but it really was dissettling, or I don't know what the word is, but that when I looked on MCOs and we're not there, and the sheriff said to us right in the meeting, yes, we are.
Well, I'd like to say one more time, every single month.
Yeah.
We ask that question, and we're always, usually, I want to say the majority of the time, the undersheriff answers it.
Mm-hmm.
But today the sheriff did, and he said yes. And I don't know, it's frustrating, and I sure hope that if we would look back and find out, I would hope that we have not been, I mean, we're giving false information, we're not being given the truth, so.
You remember back when Commissioner Newbecker was on, and he asked about it, and they had said that they had not got any applications in the last month. And they said, and Newbecker asked them if they were on MCOs, and so he went right on his phone right then and said, no, you're not. And they found out for 30 days they were not on it. And for 30 days, they never got a call. So I don't know how many applications have come in the last 6 months, but all we've heard about is this young fella that was going to go to the academy. Today, we heard that he has failed review or whatever.
That's the second, is that the same individual that failed? Because they sent 2 to the academy last time and one didn't.
This is so different.
one.
Those two.
I didn't even know that there was another one going to the academy. That wasn't presented to us
No, it wasn't. No, they were kind of just,
in the beginning stages.
yeah, just
Okay.
talking with this individual.
Well, I don't know what, I guess he was working Marine or ORV or something, so they could assess him or something, but
It's a tough occupation and it's tough to find help, but we need some communication.
Require a vote for the.
I know, I want to make sure we're all. Okay, roll call vote.
Jenny David,
Yes.
Roger Mayhew,
Yes.
Charles Wiltie,
Yes.
Mark Serbrook,
Yes.
Craig Scott.
Yes.
Item 7B, resolution to approve an agreement to house Ogemaw County prisoners in Gladwin County Jail. This resolution is sponsored by Administrator / Controller Timothy Delahoney. Section 16 of the revised statutes of 1846 requires that each of Michigan's 83 organized counties at its own cost and expense provide a suitable and sufficient jail and to keep the same in good repair. In lieu of providing a jail, counties are allowed to contract with other counties for the use of their jails. Approval of the resolution will authorize an agreement with Gladwin County to house Ogemaw County prisoners at a cost of $32 per day.
I'll make a motion to pass the resolution.
Motion Commissioner Scott,
Support.
support from Commissioner Serbrook. Discussion. Tim, we had, go ahead.
Yeah, we had two issues that we asked Gladwin County about. The first concern that fee that they wanted to charge inmates for the actual housing, we suggested not limiting or putting a cap on that at $10, so just taking that out. Gladwin County agreed to that, and it certainly makes sense. Otherwise, you'd be required to amend the contract if they needed to go to $12 or $15. The second issue concerned the term of the agreement. It's was originally proposed to us as October 1st of 25, June 30th of 27, which was a head scratcher to many of us. The way it was originally presented at our meeting was that it would be an 18-month agreement. Well, this is actually 21 months. So they did acknowledge, yes, that's 21. But the rationale is this: it's not tied to their fiscal year per se, but next or in 27, Gladwin County will be at the bargaining table with its unions, and they didn't want to lock themselves in at these rates without knowing what impact a new union contract would have on their ability to provide at the rates that are quoted here. So they suggested that June of 27. Jail administrator also said that once we get to that date, they would certainly be interested in entertaining a 3-year agreement from there forward. So that was the rationale behind it. And we were wondering, because originally it mentioned something about the fiscal year, which didn't line up with anything. Their fiscal year is exactly the same as ours. So that point was clarified. The rest of this was agreeable to everybody. The only changes really had to deal with the pricing, the per inmate per day from $30 to $32. We did go over the issue with the medical and the timing of when our officers will be expected to take over medical that's off-site at 2 hours. And the rates that were included there were in the $55 an hour range, which is consistent even with what our pay scales are here at Ogemaw County. So that certainly made sense. And the other had to do with just moving that one section or the medical costs up to number 4. The wording is otherwise the same. And of course, that housing issue that we talked about, which I think it's in our interest to let Gladwin County do that. They have a pretty good track record, at least better than average, of collecting those costs from the inmates and offsetting everybody's costs that way.
The other thing which was as far as when inmates get released.
Right. They don't want to bring them here, obviously. We actually had a conversation about another incident that happened in another county where inmates were taken to a neighboring county, and they are literally let out the door at that county, and that's it. Nobody transports them anywhere, which could certainly happen. In our case, whatever we're doing now apparently is working. I don't know that we necessarily.
There's a cost to the it's when they're released. For whatever reason, it's like we're going and picking them up and bringing them back here. That's a cost to us. We had talked as far as, why is that our responsibility? Why is it not the individual's responsibility to find their own transportation?
I don't know if I don't remember the language in the contract itself. We can look it up, but are we obligating ourselves to do that?
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
But I think that's a really rare case. I mean, typically, when they're released from Gladwin, they make the phone calls to get a ride picked up in Gladwin. But I guess there's been a few rare cases where that person doesn't have someone to pick them up. And that's what we're talking about, but I think that's very far and in between, but I don't know exactly how often that is. But typically, they are being picked up by a family member, a friend in Gladwin.
That's fair. So they are attempting to find
Oh,
transportation.
absolutely. And the majority of them, I believe, are being, get picked up over there.
Because otherwise it's a cost to us.
It is another option that we could look into. I know Gladwin has a public transportation system, just like we do in Ogemaw. We could easily arrange to have their transit take the individual to the county line where our bus will pick them up at a predetermined time and get them back here, if that's what it comes down to. I know we had talked about this, I think, at one of the committee meetings about the additional liability it is for us with an officer on the road and making that connection. But here you got a public transportation system in both counties that already works. So there's no reason why we couldn't use that.
I don't have a problem if it's far and few in between. I don't have a problem with that at all. There will be some special circumstances.
The only issue I could see with public transit would be dependent upon their release times.
Right.
Yeah.
Some jails, and then I don't know what Gladwin's policy is, but kick them out the door at 12:01 a.m. That's, so I mean,
Transit ain't going.
not at 12:01 a.m., I wouldn't think so.
What'd you say? Any other comments? Oh, good.
I don't know how they would do it, but we have to take ours down there
Yeah, they could grab them on.
and bring them back, but if, just like you said, if it don't jive on the time.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they'd have to work with the court system and they can't be released until they bring somebody.
And it sounds like it's more of a,
It's one time.
once in a while case as opposed to a regular happening, so I think it's a real big issue.
Any other comments? Roll call vote.
Roger Mayhew,
Yes.
Charles Wiltie,
Yes.
Mark Serbrook.
Yes.
Craig Scott,
Yes.
Jenny David,
Yes. Item 7C, resolution to authorize entry of participation agreements and partial settlement of the national prescription opiate litigation. This resolution is sponsored by Administrator Timothy Delahoney. The National Opiate Settlement Implementation Administrator recently announced a new settlement agreement with Sandoz Incorporated, a companion interstate agreement which reached out with the Michigan Attorney General, patterned after earlier agreements, which contemplates the proceeds from the new settlement with the split 50-50 between the state of Michigan and local government. The Sandoz settlement is not as large as many of the other settlements, which is in part of a reflection of the Sandoz smaller retail pharmacy market share. If approved, the total amount of Ogemaw County will receive under the Sandoz settlement will be a one-time payment of approximately $121,311.65. Approval of the resolution will authorize the county administrator / controller to sign any necessary documents to accept the settlement agreement on behalf of the county.
Make a motion, support.
Motion from Commissioner Wiltie, support from Commissioner Serbrook. Further discussion? Roll call vote.
Charles Wiltie.
Yes.
Mark Serbrook.
Yes.
Craig Scott,
Yes.
Jenny David.
Yes.
Roger Mayhew,
Yes.
Item 8A, resolution to authorize an amendment to the MSHDA Michigan Hope Grant Agreement. This resolution is sponsored by Housing Consulting Services LLC President Leanne Fisher. On June 22nd, 2023, the Board of Commissioners approved Resolution 23-89 to approve a Michigan Hope Grant Agreement, which provided $262,500 to improve the existing housing stock and increase the area home values. Housing Consulting Services LLC, acting on behalf of Ogemaw County, has proposed a grant amendment request for additional funds to correct a calculation error in the original grant request. Approval of the resolution will authorize the board chairperson to sign the grant amendment requesting seeking an additional $25,000 from the Michigan Hope Program.
Make a motion that the resolution be adopted.
Support.
Motion from Commissioner Serbrook, support from Commissioner Wiltie. Discussion? Tim, when did this come about? It was newly added?
It was added, it's time sensitive with Mishta to get this in by their deadline. That's the only reason it didn't go through a Cal meeting.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Mark Serbrook.
Yeah.
Craig Scott,
Yes.
Jenny David.
Yes.
Roger Mayhew,
Yes.
Charles Wiltie.
Yes.
Claims. Claims total, $544,872.30.
Make a motion to approve the claims.
Motion Commissioner Scott, I'll support that. Commissioner Wiltie and I reviewed claims.
Can I add to that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Commissioner Scott
Oh,
helped me out this week.
I did.
perfect.
Thank you.
No, yeah. And before we get into these, can you kind of explain what we're seeing new? I read your email. can you explain to the public what they
Yeah.
can?
The very first item listed on the claims now is listed as ACH payroll and fringes. It's the bulk of the claims that you have on this sheet, $426,786.99. Previous to this, I don't know that you've ever seen this on claims. What we're trying to do, which is consistent with our internal control suggestions that we recently adopted, was that you see every dollar that's spent.
Yep.
And in this case, I don't recall you're ever seeing it. All everybody was paid. That's never been the issue, but you've never actually seen it on the report. So you're seeing that. We do have one other that will be added here as time permits. You don't see the payment for the health insurance and when that's made. So you'll start seeing that regularly. I think you've seen the MERS payments. Now I've seen those pop in there, but we're trying to catch all those and just revise the sheet as we catch them so that you see those moving forward. And the number that you're reading off is a true picture of what the expenses have been for that period.
It was,
Otherwise, you would only have reported about $102,882 on this one. So you can see it's quite a jump.
it was pretty interesting. So I wanted you to take the floor. Did you, I wrote a few things down, Commissioner.
Go ahead.
Did you?
Go ahead.
District Health Department, 32,397. That's pretty much seen a Spanish interpreter ×2 on there. That's the first time I had seen that through the courts. Electric County Building was $15,383.62 for the month. Inmate housing, Aranet County was, which I didn't think was bad, was $4,701. Medical examiner, for a quarter was $6,979. Two patrol, I think it was a patrol, oh gosh, patrol vehicle was, towed, $225. I seen that on there. And then I seen meals, which I thought, I guess, I looked at the receipts from the meals for the inmates, and I definitely don't mean to be nitpicking here, but it was $660 from Rancheros, and I think there was a Walmart for like $260. And it's kind of odd how it's broke down. It's just broke down to like, I think it was like 39 something from Rancheros. I don't know if it was burgers or burritos or something. It just seemed like a lot, like what I looked at there for was, and maybe that's over a period of time. I was gonna ask if anybody was here, like what $660 bill, and maybe that was a month. I don't know. I don't know if that was a one-time order. I don't know if
I hope not.
that.
I did. Yep.
$10 a meal, isn't it?
It wasn't broke down as a meal. And again, I don't mean to be nitpicking by any means, but it was, I was just like a little, huh?
The claim itself was not.
Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
Is there a better way to maybe break it down? I don't know. Did you?
I assumed it was a month.
Did it say it on there and I missed it, the receipt?
I don't know.
And maybe that's how, can you ask how they're getting invoiced for those?
I can, and just one of the reports that you have on the inmate statistics, the average intake per day for June was 1.37. So that would kind of jive with that. You're taking in that many that you've got to feed every day. So, roughly it's one.
Well, I would assume that the help does still eat. We always fed the help by even union contracts.
Yep.
It's just nice to break it down. And that wasn't the only thing on there. I mean, there was numerous things on there, but it was just kind of, Walmart was like breakfast. So I assume like cereal, which I don't mind that. But for that big number, I was just wondering for a little better explanation on that. But that's really the only thing that stuck out for me. How about you?
No, I mean, yeah, when I looked at $545,000 of claims, it's like, holy smokes, but then look back in that first column for that first line is
Right.
$25,000 in payroll, and you're correct, Tim. We have never seen payroll or fringes or anything on a monthly basis at all. I mean, we were always just told they're there, but that's kind of When you're spending $500,000 every 2 weeks, 26 times a year, holy smokes, it starts to add up, but then you gotta take in that a lot of these payrolls are paid by other sources and things like that, but yeah, because right away, I'm thinking $11 million budget, holy smokes, we just spent it and everything.
Wages.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other incomes
Right.
coming in there, streams, but yeah, I'm glad to see that because that's a point that we always get stuck on answering. What are we spending all the money on? And like any other business, labor costs the most, it does.
It's also nice to see like the electric bill. We didn't used to see that kind of stuff as well on there. We're seeing more and more.
Individual,
Yes.
yep. Well, I see like the old jail was only $65.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It went from 300 in the last month or two to,
Well, we're not heating anything, no.
well, I hope we weren't. That was in May or maybe the end of April.
Well, yeah, and
When you bring
bill was
light to things,
the bill was probably for March,
Yep, yeah.
Electric heat.
a little behind. But no, it was good to see that, yeah, I mean, there was nothing really glaring, I mean, district health, we had that appropriation, that quarterly appropriation of 32,000.
You guys had a bunch on there for road.
Indigent council is always like
Yeah.
18,000, so really the rest of it was just small stuff, really.
You guys had a bunch for your Parks and Rec up there too.
Yes.
You guys had some on there
We
too.
had some different items there too, yeah.
Did see that.
And well, I'll touch on it in a little bit, but we had a Parks and Rec meeting today, so we talked about those things.
Roll call vote.
Craig Scott,
Yeah, yes.
Jenny David.
Yes.
Roger Mayhew.
Yes.
Charles Wiltie.
Yes.
Mark Serbrook.
Yes.
Unfinished business, any commissioners?
No,
Uh,
I don't have-
Administrator/controllers report.
You've got the written report in the iPads. A couple of things to mention to you. We had our monthly opioid settlement meeting today, and tomorrow we will release the RFP for the opioid remediation services. The schedule that we've worked out, assuming everything goes according to plan, and it probably will, but it might not. But if everything goes according to plan, at your second regular meeting in September 25th, you will have at least one, maybe more recommendations from the committee on spending some of those dollars consistent with the opioid settlement agreements. So pretty exciting time for that group. I did want to, just because it's such an anomaly, point out one FOIA that was replied to. There were 6 over the 2-week period, but we had a New York City organization that wanted a description of all of our purchases from January 1st, 2022 to the present date. Didn't even need to spend a whole lot of time on it, but the BSNA system works great. You put in the parameters, it'll spit out the spreadsheet that you want. And if you've worked with Excel, I think you'll appreciate this. 197,500 lines of information covering $78 million in change of expenses for that time frame. Now, I'll grant you, that's a lot of lines, and some of those lines were empty. A lot of them are repetitive information, but we take these literally. When the FOIAs come in, you ask for it, we'll spit it out. Didn't charge anything for it because it was very little time. Just said BSNA, here's the parameters, make the spreadsheet. It did, we emailed it, it's done. But that, it just was one that really stood out. Lastly, and I know Commissioner Scott will probably get into it a little bit. You'll notice of the 23% of my time spent under miscellaneous, there was a large portion in there that was dedicated to bringing the RV park grant from the DNR current, literally reviving this thing, making amendments over several one-year periods, maneuvering through the maze that is the DNR's grant reporting sheet. That grant was issued in 2019 for improvements to the RV park. Through these amendments, the grant not only is revived, but seriously modified. So the original grant was for sewer work and some major infrastructure work like that. You might recall that after COVID, when that RFP was issued, Prices had doubled, and there was no way that grant and the supplement from the West Branch Township DDA was not going to be able to cover that. So the grant looks completely different than it did when it was originally approved. It will go for some electrical upgrades, some ADA parking improvements, pathway of some kind. Anyway, way different. But the significant amount of that miscellaneous time was working with the DNR and working with representatives of the Parks Commission to get this revived and up and going. And I'm hoping all that work is going to pay off in the form of RFPs, and these improvements will start maybe later this year. At least that's the idea. So that was quite an unusual task, but one I think you can feel good about being done. I forget what the total amount was. I do know that DDA in West Branch Township was chipping in about $100,000. So it's not small by any means.
Questions for Tim? I had on your report, I read through it, and Chief Deputy County Clerk, it looks like you guys had a meeting, Under Sheriff, UKG representative, related, it says timesheet errors that have consistently occurred over several pay periods. And I did read your email. I guess, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Right. So as we've approved our collective bargaining agreements, and I believe there are 3 groups of employees now who have agreed to use this timesheet system, I'm going to focus specifically on the sheriff deputies because that's where we've really noticed the issues. The parameters are set by the union contract itself. So how many vacation hours do you accrue per pay period? What is your overtime rate on a holiday? How much PTO time, is utilized, and what category does it come out of? All of these things have to line up so that when the data is moved from UKG to BSNA to actually issue the checks, the idea is that everything will populate accurately across the board. We've had issues with overtime hours appearing as regular hours. We've had shift differential hours appearing as overtime hours, just all sorts of things that were messed up to the point for the July 5th pay period, all but one of our deputies' timesheets was incorrect. The one that was correct happened to be an officer who was on PTO the whole time. So it's kind of hard to mess that one up. We have been working with UKG over at least 6, maybe 8 weeks, trying to get this done. My assessment is this: the original people who were assigned to make these changes into the system, let's just say they were not the most senior employees. I would characterize them maybe a step above interns. And I think they did more damage than helpful when they were modifying the programming. What you're seeing here in the report that we had with our meeting with myself, the chief deputy clerk, and the undersheriff was a meeting with 2 of their programmers, more senior programmers at UKG, explaining where the problems were and what needed to be done to clean them up. Hope was that on the July 5th pay period, we would see improvement. No, we did not. It went the other way. It was worse. Since I wrote this, we've actually had more communication even today with UKG. Haven't rattled my sword just yet over this, but somebody higher up, even than those programmers, said, you guys need to get on this. And I've said this kind of tongue in cheek, but it gets more serious every time I say it. This is a company that can handle O'Hare Airport. It can certainly handle little Ogemaw County with our 120 plus or minus employees versus that massive airport over in Chicago. Why is this happening? And I think that message is starting to trickle through. But I'm dead serious when I said in here that I'm starting to poke around at other options. Now, the reason why we went with UKG, it was BSNA said this is the most compatible system with our programming. And the idea is we have fewer people getting into the system and manipulating the data. As soon as you do that, you increase your chance for error. If an employee works 8 until 5, maybe takes an hour off on sick leave or something, that should be able to be entered. Once the department has approved it, it should just go through. Tracy shouldn't have to re-enter any of that data. It shouldn't have to re-enter it at the UKG level and then go into BSNA and have to manipulate it again. The idea was smooth transition all the way across. It hasn't worked that way with this group of employees since we had them put in. So I actually had a cold call from another vendor who would like to set up a meeting with me, which I haven't taken yet, but set up a meeting with me to show me their product which is a similar setup, an electronic timesheet system, but also the electronic accounting system to offer that smooth transition. I don't think any of us are interested in leaving SNA. We have nothing but praise for that program across the board, not only from the accounting standpoint, but assessing, building permits, zoning, everybody uses that. It's very easy for us to use. So it's really the UKG component here that needs to be fixed. Now, there did seem to be a renewed commitment today to getting this done. We'll see. There'll be another payroll that comes up. I believe it's next week it'll be produced. We'll see if we have any improvements. We should. I'm telling you, I can write formulas in Excel and accomplish this. If I can do it, certainly somebody who's a seasoned programmer should be able to make this work and make it work a lot quicker and a lot better than what I could. So I'm counting on that to happen. But if it doesn't, I'm going to get very serious about finding us another vendor to do this because it shouldn't be this hard.
What are we paying for the UKG?
Trying to think of where I could find that for you. I might be able to answer that. We have all of our resolutions on here. I should be able to find it and tell you. Otherwise, I'm just guessing, and more than likely, I'm going to be wrong.
I guess why the issues with the time, why the BSNA, a majority besides the ones that recently initiated, which I don't think the courts have initiated yet, like why the issue with the sheriff's office? Why not issues in other departments? Is it because they're utilizing the phone? Is it?
No, they were not. They didn't have the detailed, what do you want to call those? The attributes worked into their system because they were entering it all themselves manually
Right.
at the sheriff's office. So the idea is take that burden off of them. They shouldn't need to worry about.
Is that what the courts are still doing?
I don't believe the courts are doing that anymore either. I think we have all of those attributes in there. We have had conversations about how they utilize the system on the ground, but I believe all of their sick time, vacation time, all that accrual is happening automatically. Sheriff's office, we didn't have any of that in the system before, so we had to build that from the ground up.
And there's so many more variables over there. I mean, they're probably the only group, them and corrections, we get shift differential, you know, there's a whole bunch of things that are out of the norm from the rest of the county employees, you know, the 8:30 to 4:30 people versus that 24/7 operation with shift differentials. And, you know, there's a lot of moving.
People are getting paid correctly, correct?
Well, we make sure of that.
Short.
Yes, they are. And what Tracy's doing to make sure that is taking the time on payroll day to go through, you know, first a sampling of different employees to see if the checks are working out. Really, this is the only area where we're having a problem. So she will focus really first on the sheriff's office. Last time they just redid them all, entered them manually, and got people paid on time. And that'll continue to happen. That's a priority,
Okay.
obviously.
Can you give us up to date on that?
And I'll let you know, I'll pitch you an email about the cost of that contract.
Well, thanks to Tracy for that. Any other questions, comments?
That about covers our budget committee meeting this morning.
Nah.
That was that topic, obviously.
Elected officials and department head reports. Do you have anything from the clerk's office?
No update.
Treasurer?
My reports are on your iPad.
I seen that. I was shocked by the amount of interest for the month. There was 17, it was a lot. Let me look. I don't want to just quote.
The Michigan class.
Yeah, 17,000.
In the month.
Nice.
Yes, and I've added road patrol, so I added another sub account. Road patrol funds were building up from the millage dollars. So I
Yep.
put some of those funds.
Nice. Anything else? Any other department heads, elected officials? Jeff, you're on the phone?
No, I don't have any updates, thanks.
Tom?
I looked up the UKG and in 2024 was 8,548, 8,548. And in 2023, it was 9,111. But the difference was where Andrews Technology hosted our stuff. We didn't get charged for that once we went through UKG. So that's why it actually went down.
So, I mean, that's a substantial amount of money. They need to figure this out. On our iPads, we have building inspections report, information technology report, jail inmate statistics report, register of deeds report, sheriff's office, April, June statistics report, treasurer's office cash summary and investment report. Matters from the floor? Motions for adoption? Commissioner reports. Commissioner Wiltie.
Mills Township meeting this past Tuesday night. This coming Sunday at Elbow Lake Park, the Optimist Club. We're very blessed to have that group. They do a fantastic job over there. They're having the Fun in the Sun event. Brings out a lot of young children that come out to that. They play games, have opportunities to win bicycles. I know typically someone from the sheriff department, state police are there talking with the children. It's a very good event. So that's this Sunday at Elbow Lake Park. You can look at the Optimist, Cardinal Optimist Club on Facebook for more specific information. This morning we had a budget meeting. It was actually a pretty quick meeting, but it's a prelude to next Thursday. We're going to have another meeting, which will be a lot more meat and potatoes of our 2026 upcoming budget. So we will be meeting next Thursday again. But one item we discussed today, and it was kind of quarterbacked by Randy, head of our equalization, is eventually we're going to have to store our BSA software, all of our storage in the cloud. And the cost that we have right now for that is just absolutely insane. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for the cost to do it and the maintenance for it and education and everything else. So we do have some time yet, and we're gonna look into other options on that. It sounds like there are some counties that have already done that and spent that money. And we definitely wanna explore other options. I know it's gotten right down to Tim. I had asked that maybe if we could write a letter to the treasury explaining our displeasure, and it sounds like there's a lot of other counties that are in the same boat as us. So maybe a little conversation with Mac. I'm gonna have a conversation at our Northern Commissioner meeting regarding this as well, and maybe we could write a letter from that organization as well. So, I mean, obviously, BSNA is required through the state, and they have a monopoly. And those are huge costs. So it is something that we aren't gonna just jump on and hope to look into some more options. But I am looking forward to next Thursday's meeting for the budget meeting. We had a LE law enforcement meeting, late morning. The undersheriff and the sheriff were there, which was really good to see. We had some issues that the undersheriff to take care of, so he left. And the sheriff stayed with us. One item that was brought up, of course, you know, we're on the agenda always talking about the 24/7 and the resource officers. But one item that was brought to me at our Mills Township meeting, and I was completely blindsided. I was asked after my Mills Township meeting by Doug from the newspaper if I had heard that our animal resource officer took a job with Aranet County. Obviously, I was not aware of that. Doug had the agenda there and he showed it to me. So it does, after talking with the sheriff today, is our animal control officer, who is still our animal control officer. And supposedly nothing's gonna change. The service is gonna stay exactly the same way as it is, has taken a 40-hour position with Aranet County. So I had a couple concerns. The first concern is I was very disappointed why always consistent, like it has been for 3 years, that there's no communication to us. I mean, I don't expect to know everything, but as the LE chair and, you know, Tim, especially our county administrator, who is our quarterback, why we don't know these things. I mean, that is something that, you know, we shouldn't be finding out from the public or from someone from the newspaper. So I was disappointed with that, but yet also, you know, and proof will be in the pudding, but we're gonna watch this closely to see the results. You know, from what we've known to this point, you know, Scott has done no, I'm sorry, it's not Scott. Robert has done a very good job. We've been very happy with it. Our constituents, from people I've talked to, have said that he's doing a great job. But now he's taking on a full-time job. That's a lot on a person. And with our 25 hours, that's 65 hours a week. So we're just gonna have to watch it closely and make sure that there's no sacrifice of any service that we've had in the past. But I wanted to make sure to let you guys know that. And again, was not found out through the sheriff department. So that was a topic we discussed. Also today I had a well advanced facilities meeting with Commissioner Serbrook over in Tawas. We got some money gonna be getting spent on the facilities over there. That was a really good meeting. And then Commissioner Serbrook and I followed that right up with the opiate settlement committee meeting. Tim told you guys about our timetable. We're super excited. RFPs are completed. That timetable is pretty aggressive, but we need to set goals if we get to that September 11th point, and that any of us feel that we're not there, we're not ready, we're being rushed. There's no reason that we're gonna rush this. We don't have to be married to this, but we do need to set goals. So I'm hoping we can stay true to that, but I'm excited to see how these RFPs go. Don't want to get too long-winded. One more thing I want to say is, this is my third year now as commissioner. I know us as a board, hasn't always been perfect, but I know we all have really good intentions to try to do what's best for the county. But I would like to say I'm very happy to see us as a board. I feel like we're working stronger together than we have since I've been here. We're united for the most part. We're not going to always agree, but I really like the strength that we have and the decisions that we're making. And like today, for example, I was very, of course, set. I did not want to, not vote for moving the school resource officer ahead. But you guys all made very good comments that we have time. We can discuss this more. We need to have that conversation. We've got to get some things figured out. So therefore, I did agree with you guys. I changed my decision. I just want to say I really like the direction that we're heading. We've got a long ways to go. But the more we can be united, the better it's going to be for the decisions we make and for the constituents of Ogemaw County. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Scott, it's very rare that I agree with you. Go ahead.
I was not able to make the city of West Branch meeting or Foster Township this week, but Ellie meeting this morning, as Commissioner Welty said, we also had the 911 director and the county clerk and Danielle from the courts in attendance. They all had issues that they wanted to talk about. A lot of it to do with tracking inmates, arrestees or inmates. They've had a few get lost in the system. And it was explained thoroughly to the sheriff, who was now the only one in attendance, that it is his responsibility or his department's office responsibility to track them. Even though we take them someplace else, we don't give up ownership. They're still our inmate. We need to know where they're at. If they get bonded out in the other county, then the courts need to know that they got bonded out. They assume they're sitting in a jail someplace. And then, of course, when they're bonded out, I guess they're given a time to go to court and everything like that. Well, the court needs to know what time did you tell them to go, So there was that issue going. We talked in depth about the openings, and it isn't just the road deputy that we're looking for. We're still vacant in the jail administrator position. And here it is in the 9th month of the fiscal year, and we're still or not in 10th month. Is it 10th? No, 9th, something like that. No. 10th month. Yeah, we're in the 10th month right now. And we're still not filling that position. Well, we held on because he was telling us that the guy that was on FMLA was gonna come back, he was gonna take it. Well, he just retired out. And it's been the same topic. Just trust me. Well, we did. And you're still vacant. We opted, when we learned about more things, we opted to give them another officer. We through union talks and everything else, we came up with a part-time secretary to help with alleviate issues. But yet, we're still with this vacant spot. And, you know, this is another thing that I'm having an issue with when we do this school thing, you know. We had Parks and Rec Board meeting even earlier than that. We did talk about our deer feed and issue of how much we have been working on a new caretakers agreement for the nature park. And we were able to find some older duty descriptions and things like that. So we're working on that. It's coming along. Our budgets look pretty good, other than feed is a little high, but other than that, in both parks, we're doing very well. I think we're right there. But it's kind of, we don't collect revenues on the same schedule as everybody else. You know, the parks are closed in the winter, so we don't generate any revenue. So we may be down on revenue at the end of June, but it's July, August, September that we really start pulling the revenues from both the RV park and the nature park. Danny Johnson was in attendance and told us that everything for the 501c3 group at the High Banks is now in place. And they're waiting for the end of the season to get the parking lot fixed up where the maliciously got run over and destroyed. But seems to be on track and seems to be working out there. So all in all, not too bad. Our RV park was just packed for the holiday weekend. I think they said 2 primitive spots were vacant and that was it. So that's going good. As Tim was talking about with the DNR grant and everything, you know, it was 82,000 or something like that. I don't know, something like $80,000 originally. And then 100,000 was pledged by the TDA at West Branch Township. And of course, when we put out the bids for sewer on premises or on the lot sewer going into the sewer system came in at $450,000. And we had to kind of rethink our plans, you know. So, and just like everything else that runs through Lansing, you know, you run all this stuff over there and then they got to take months and look at it. And then all of a sudden they'll call up and say, geez whiz, we let the timeline go too late. Now you got to reapply and things like that. So it's looking better though. It's looking better. And hopefully maybe by October, November, we'll start on a project that'll get us better electricity at our spots and some handicap availability in some of the lots and things like that. So, and we'll be able to utilize that money. But next week's airport, and so that's what I got.
Commissioner Mayhew.
I went to West Branch, had a record 7 minutes. They voted to pay the bills.
All right.
Adios.
Perfect. Is that it?
That was.
Commissioner Serbrook.
I don't feel guilty for missing West Branch. I was on vacation for the last week. I didn't get back to West Branch until 8:30 last night. So I missed West Branch Township, but I guess I really didn't miss much. Everything that I've done, today's been covered. We had budget this morning and then, Commissioner Wiltsey and I have just been, he's had more meetings than I have. He had one more than I did today, but we started out at 9 o'clock this morning with that. And then he went to law enforcement and I had some time off to be able to get something to eat. Then we went to Tawas for, facilities committee for us, or Wilvance CMH. And then we had our opioid, and I am looking very forward to this RFP thing. I think, you know, people put a lot of their time and effort into it. We've had some excellent subject matter experts guide us along the way. Tim's done a fantastic job, along with Amy from MAC, in drafting this stuff up. And, you know, as Commissioner Wilson said, we'd like to be able to follow the timelines that we've set. But we're gonna make sure that we award, if we make a recommendation to award an RFP, that we've done our due diligence and we're confident that they're gonna do the best job that we can, and we'll bring it back to the board and make our recommendation. So hopefully we can stick to the timeline. If not, better safe than sorry, and have us very satisfied with what we get done. So hopefully in September, we'll have some recommendations from the board on how to utilize some opioid funds.
And we're meeting tomorrow for the person.
What are we meeting?
Here, tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock here?
Yep.
Okay.
So, I've had a 911 meeting I had last night. They have three new trainees. There was no overtime this past month. They do have a date set to move the equipment from the sheriff's office. So that's a good thing. The director also briefly brought up a possible dispatch mobile unit in case power goes down, in case they lose service, in case something happens. They do have and it's just being talked about right now. She just brought it to our attention that may be a good idea in the future, especially with all of the emergencies that have been occurring in various communities. Also talked about non-emergency calls. They get a lot of like robocalls. Apparently all units do, not emergency, but the admit line where they have to answer them, but a lot of, and she gave us numbers, they were very, very high as far as how many non-emergency calls they get per day. So it sounds like the state's gonna possibly come up maybe with something to help with this. We also are converting over to QuickBooks. Since 911 has been an authority for a period of time, they really are doing well. They're finally getting their bearings and they're looking at taking over, the director, Jessie, taking over payroll, and we invested in QuickBooks and she's slowly converting to inputting all the data and is doing very well with that. So that was my 911 meeting. I also had a Hardwood Lake meeting, which we only meet once a year. That was last Saturday. That went very well. They had some funds. It's basically Hardwood Lake over there actually in Logan Township, where I live, has their own authority, their own board, and it was related to weed patrol. They have some extra funds sitting there, so they are going to collect a little less this upcoming, not a whole lot less, but a little less. Because they had some reserve there, but they're very pleased with the services that they're getting over there with the lake. It was very interesting. They had an environmentalist there talking about the various weeds and stuff and what they were and what will work. And it was probably a 2-hour meeting, but it was informative and it was good. It was very well attended, which was nice to see. Also attended Michigan Works meeting, the financial report. We went over the 2024 final budget, 2025 new budget. This is their budget. It's pretty cool looking. It's pretty easy to follow. I brought some information with me. It looks like a whole pile here from Michigan Works. Just some interesting, this is service center numbers from Aranet, Clare, Gladwin County, Roscommon County, Ogemaw County, and Iosco County. Ogemaw County alone for the month of June, 647 individuals were serviced at Michigan Works. Jobs filled for Ogemaw County were 24 through Michigan Works, and employers served was 67. I found that kind of interesting to bring. And then also Michigan Career Quest, which is a huge event for Michigan Works, is October. Oh, I want to give you the date on that. Is in October. That's at Saginaw Valley. That's a very well attended event. Actually, October 10th at 9 a.m. at SVSU. They are anticipating 100 employers signed up to participate and approximately 4,900 members of a future workforce to attend. So that's a huge event for Michigan Works. Statewide average hourly wage currently is $16.79. These are all just fun facts from Michigan Works. There was one more thing I wanted to share with you. They partner with IRESA, which is kind of an interesting, I like this data anyways. They held graduation for Ogemaw, Gladwin, and Iosco counties, and 73 youth in the community received their high school diploma or GED in June. And Michigan Works partners with IRESA for that. But I thought that number was pretty significant, 73. So also, I did not attend any of my townships this past week, 2 weeks. Hill Township was the same night we had, it was July 2nd because of the switch, so I wasn't able to attend that. Richland Township did, their treasurer voluntarily stepped down. and he has been replaced with a very good candidate. And then Logan Township, my mom is a supervisor there and I did briefly talk to her. They had a pretty short meeting. They're resurfacing their parking lot, so no issues there, so.
Short meeting.
Huh?
Short meeting in Logan.
Yes,
That had to be a headline on itself.
things are going fairly smoothly over there now. It was a little bit of a rough transition, but things are going fairly smoothly, so
And the parking lot too.
all is well. Comments?
Especially, I have a
Questions?
question.
Yes.
I have a question that I forgot one thing. For payroll for 911, who's currently doing the payroll?
We're getting the system, the QuickBooks system,
Right.
so that way, Jesse, the director.
Right, but who's doing it right
the
now?
accountant,
Accounting firm.
Accounting firm?
Through, yeah, they use Stevenson, the same ones we do, which was pretty costly, but while this transition was happening, that's who's been doing it, yes.
Right, well, the reason I asked that, being on the EMS co-chair on that board, we currently had made a move. We keep doing the payroll,
Oh.
and it is costly, and I'm watching it closely, so that's why I want to ask questions, so thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like Stevenson's has been pretty informative during this process. Jesse asked them when we were thinking about doing this, if they would help with this transition. And it sounds like they've been open to questions. Jesse has put in a lot of hours with that, along with the chair of the 911 board, which is Nancy Hennard, which she has a lot of experience with that too. She was a court administrator for 3 different counties, I believe, which one was Ogemaw years ago. So that I think has helped with this transition.
You guys have a strong board there.
An amazing board, yes.
Yeah.
A very diverse board, and it's very interesting, you just brought that up, but it's very interesting hearing, they have roundtable discussion before we close the meeting and the various opinions. They're all very different, and I respect all of them very much. So it is a very good board, and they've done very well. They have top-notch equipment. I'm actually gonna go sit there tomorrow for a little while. I would like to see what the workers do because the burnout rate does seem to be a bit high. And I just want to talk to a few of the employees and I want to sit and see what it's all about. But the number of calls that come through Ogemaw County, from what I'm being told, and I truly believe, is unbelievably high. So.
Well, that's cool that you're sitting in. So the one thing I forgot, this past Wednesday morning, we had building security meeting. Went well. One item that was talked about is that we still do not have a true emergency process plan in place, save for tornado, horrific weather conditions. I know there has been trainings on active shooter and stuff, but we don't have that plan in place. And I know a couple years ago, it sounds like Tim and our emergency manager, Mike Bowers, at that time, Tim's assistant, Mary, was working on something. It got going, but it never got finished. Danielle from District Court has brought some stuff to the table using some other counties, I believe Roscommon County. So I know right now it is very, very important that they're gonna get together and we need to get this in place. I mean, I hope we never have to use it, but we see these things that are happening and it seems like these weather patterns are getting worse. God bless these people down in Texas, what they're all going through, but it's 2025 and we need to have that emergency plan in place for all of our county buildings, and all of our employees need to know what the plan is. So I sent Tim and Mike an email asking them the importance of this matter, that we've got to get this in place. So, that was basically just what I wanted to state on that meeting.
Any public comment? What up, sir?
That happens around here.
Go ahead.
Ken Schnauz, Churchill Township Supervisor. Going back to 7A consent agenda resolution through school resource deputy agreement. Do we have anything to do with Whittemore Prescott High School?
Yes, we also,
Are we looking at providing them also with a resource?
we do.
We haven't.
We haven't, okay. I didn't hear anything brought up about Whittemore Prescott, just Ogemaw Heights.
Yep,
So.
we do.
And I do feel that they're supposed to be putting in the magic doors at Ogemaw Heights, the metal detector and the safety doors. So wouldn't that reduce a little bit our need for a armed resource director? If we could make sure the students entering Ogemaw Heights don't carry, don't have weapons and such. Just something to think about.
Thank you, sir.
But thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Any public comment on the phone? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, you gotta watch,
A while to get up.
gotta watch me.
It's all right. The SRO, just an FYI, Brandon schools in Ortonville in Oakland County, they use armed security to monitor their entry doors and their areas of egress. They use Premier Security, but I believe that's in conjunction with an SRO, but it reduces the SRO's ineffectiveness, so to speak, because he can't cover every entrance. But they've done that with retired law enforcement. The reason I know that is my brother was one of them, so. Something else. A couple of weeks ago, we did some amendments to some ordinances within Ogemaw County's guidelines.
Mhm.
One of them that caught my eye was special use permits. And one of the items in that list was bed and breakfast. Clearly, we're having some issues with STRs, the short-term rentals, 29 days or less at a number of the lakes in the area, not just the lake where I live. And what's happening is we have these commercial entities as LLCs being run by folks who don't live here. And they're coming in, and frankly, less than 1% of the property owners at our lake have hijacked our community. And they're dropping in these STRs. Currently, we have around 25, but there are a couple of others that are getting ready to come online. My concern is that they're going to get out of hand operating in the R1 districts. I'm not alone on this. There are a number of us who are concerned. And I was wondering if there was a way we could update the language in the Ogemaw County ordinances to reflect something regarding the 29 days or less, or update the language where it refers to bed and breakfast, because that's kind of antiquated language. And I've talked to Mr. Wiltsey about this, and he's kind of waiting for me to come to him with something, but we're working on this. But I'd like to put a bug in your ear with regard to that, because it's going to get worse. Now, to be clear, and this is for the folks on the phone as much as anything, this is not an attack on Summerdorf as an entity. By virtue of their timeline regarding their bylaws and their establishment, they're grandfathered in because they predate the ordinances from Ogemaw County. So this is not about Summerdorf. This is about the commercial LLCs operating in the R1 areas. That's the end of that. One more thing. I have a situation in Mills Township with some blight, as you know. Well, I have one particular person that's been an ongoing problem going back. I did discover a judgment against this person from 2017 that's still in effect. So I sent that to the attorney, but I had to go to Pat Rinke because the road is actually blocked with vehicles and trash. And Pat sent out a letter to that individual within an hour of me being in his office. And I just wanted to say I was stunned that it happened that quick, but I just wanted to give him a shout out and tell him I appreciate that. Oh, and I'm Steve Yukas from Mills Township. I don't know that I told you that. Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
I would recommend talking to Ryan Veeder.
Oh, I did. I thought
Okay.
on the way in.
Perfect. Any other public comment? Any public comment on the phone? Any public comment on the phone? I will not be here next week. So. Motion to adjourn? What are you looking at? Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Second.
Well, it's motion carries. Just scared me for a minute.
He likes to.
Good night, Karen.
Next Wednesday, Karen? Just all sit here in dead silence.